questions I get asked is about making a crochet border on a project. Now this was loom knitted with Bernat baby yarn, which again, as you can see, is very thick, but I had this as a rectangle available, so I figured I would use this. Now the yarn I'm going to use to do the border is actually just a medium weight yarn. Now what I want to say too is that the way I'm doing it for this may be a little different than if you're using yarn of the same weight. But I wanted to use this pretty blue because I thought it would look really nice against the white. So how would you do a basic single crochet border around an edge of your project? That's what I want to show you. So you got your yarn, make your slip knot, and then what you want to do is you grab your crochet hook. Typically the yarn you're using will let you know which crochet hook you should use. I tend to always have a favorite. I'm using a G right now. But you're going to place your loop on your crochet hook, like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come up to a corner. We're going to start in a corner. Now what I like about using this one to show you guys is when we go around, let me explain real quick, we're going to be looking for the natural holes in the project. You see how there's some natural holes? Let's zoom in here for a minute. The natural holes in the project. That's where we're going to be putting our crochet hook to make it a lot easier for us to make a border around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my crochet hook with the working yarn on it, and it's going to go behind this first loop. Can you see the first hole I have here? That's plenty big enough to use. The yarn is going to go behind it, and we're going to hold it with our fingers in the back like that. And you're going to have your crochet hook here, your working yarn kind of behind the project. Your crochet hook is going to go in the hole that you have, go into the back, grab your working yarn, and bring it through. So you should end up looking like this. Once you have the two on there, then bring up your working yarn again and put a loop back on your crochet hook. And now pull that loop, the last loop you have on here, through both of those loops. And that is one single crochet. Now again, because the yarn I'm using, the working yarn, is thinner than the yarn that I'm crocheting a border out on, I'm going to do another single crochet right in there into the same stitch I just did. Again, we're bringing the crochet hook through, we're coming to the back to grab our working yarn, pull it through. You see we got two loops on it, wrap another one on it, bring that last one through the two, and there's another one. Now what you're going to be able to do with your, excuse me, that's just a little messed up from, there we go, let's tighten that up a little bit. So what you're going to do now is you're going to do another one. Because I have such a gap here, I want one more in here. But typically, if the yarns are the same width or same size, you would only have to probably do one of each. So now we're getting ready to go on to the next stitch. So what I'm doing is I'm looking again here for the natural opening that I would have. And again, with any project, you're going to look for that natural opening along the edges to make it easier. You don't want to feel like you're forcing your crochet hook to go into a spot that doesn't belong. So we're going to the next spot we have here. Again, we already had the one loop on it. We're going to bring our crochet hook through to the back to grab our working yarn and to bring it forward. Have two on there, wrap it with one around, and take this last one through both of them. And that's a single crochet. And because, like I said, I have such a difference in the yarn, I'm doing 3 in each stitch. So I'm doing that same pattern, but I'm doing it all in that same stitch, as you can see, so that I can have a nice even border. So what you see that does is when we did 3 in it, is we're getting a nice same border in it. And the corners will look better as you do them. There's a little technique we'll be doing when we get to the corners. And then you can hide your tail in later and trim it if you need to. So that's all I'm going to do. Again, is working my yarn, is going to the next available stitch, putting your crochet hook through till you can grab it on the other side. You pull it through, and now you got 2 on your crochet hook. Bring the yarn around and bring it through. And that's the one single crochet. And again, if your yarn that you're crocheting onto and the yarn you're using are the same width, you would only need to do like 1 in that stitch. But if I weren't to do any more in that stitch and jump to the next one, like that, then you would see a difference in how it would look. Like, let me just jump back to here. I'm not doing any more than just 1 in a stitch right now. And as you can see, it kind of creates a different look. So it's up to you. You can choose, with the yarn being different, to just do 1, but I like doing 3. You notice the difference? How we just got one simple thing here, or we have a thicker covering the yarn more. So it's up to you. And that's what's great about this, is like I did this and I'm like, wait a minute, I want to go back and I forgot to do the amount I did. It's very easy to just remove your crochet hook and gently pull, and it will pop itself back to where you're comfortable that you left off with. Like right here, and I've got my loop back, put it back on my crochet hook, and now again, I'm going to go to the next hole and I'm going to do 3 single crochets in that same stitch. There's 1, 2, and 3 to get the look that I want. Again, if the yarns were the same, I would do a different one. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this until I get to a corner, and then I'll show you kind of how you would work going around in a corner. Okay, so I went around and I finished this top row here, and I really like the color, how it pops with the white. And like I said, depending on the difference between the yarn you're crocheting with and the yarn that you're crocheting, or that you're doing it onto, like I said, this is a lot thicker, so I was doing more in each stitch than I would if they were the same. So now what we're going to do is the corner. So if you look here, we're getting close to the corner. I just have one more stitch before I hit the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 3 single crochets in the one spot. Okay, now we're getting to the stitch that's the corner stitch. Because I did 3 here, I'm actually going to do more in my corner stitch. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see. Now we have our last stitches right there. Can you see? Let me bring it up closer. That last stitch. We're going to take our crochet hook in. We're going to do our 3, but we're going to add 3 more to it because of the difference in yarn. So 1, 2, 3 is what we normally do. And I'm going to add 3 more. So 1, all in that same stitch, 2, and the last one's coming up here, and we got 3. Now if you find that's too many, like for you don't like the way it looks, then do less in it. Basically what you want to be able to do, I gotta grab that again. Get on here. Okay, 1 more. You want to be able to turn that corner. So that was 6 in the corner. Now I'm going to go right over, and if you look, it kind of helps us do a turn into the next row. That's what we're trying to do. So again, typically, if you were using the same yarn and we did 1 chain, 1 single crochet in each stitch, when we get to the end, you would do like sometimes 3 to get over. But that's something that you can actually do and just see if you need more. And then again, we're just going to work our way to the next stitch. And we're going to do our 3 in each stitch like we did before because of the yarn difference. So now you're going to keep working your way around, and when you get to your next corner, if you did 6 in this corner, make sure you do 6 in that corner as you go ahead and change it around. And I'll meet you back here when we get back to where we have to join them at the starting row. Okay, now we are getting to the part where we're going to have to join the beginning to the end that we did. So I'm going to continue doing my crochet the way I've been doing until I get to that corner stitch. Now this is just a loose thread, so I'm going to kind of tuck that behind, but I'm going to go until I get back to my starting stitch that I was at. So I'm doing my 3 crochets here. Oops, getting caught in. So I'm doing my 3 crochets here. And I'm hoping if you like this, comment below, and if you'd like to see me try doing other crochet borders, learning them to share with you guys, go ahead and comment below and like this video so that I'll know that I'm on the right track for what you guys want to see. Now we're going to this last video stitch here almost before we get to that one that we need to join them. Okay, the next stitch should be that last one. And because we did, with this particular one, we did 6 on each end, and we got the 6 down here, we want to make sure that we do 6 in the last stitch here as well before we join them. So we're going to go right into that first stitch here, and we're going to do 6 single crochets. I'm just making sure we're grabbing the working yarn and not that straggler from before. So this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one is 6. Now keep in mind that will change depending on how many you do to get around your corners, so just make sure whatever you needed to get around your corners, the other ends, this one came out weird just because of the stitch that was there, but again, whatever you did to go around your corners, you're going to need to do that on the very end too. So if you only needed 3 to get around your corner, then you're only going to need 3 here. If you did 4, you're going to need 4 here. So it's whatever you did, you want to keep that consistent. Now when we look, I need my scissors, get them out. We're going to cut some of our working yarn. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, probably about 6 inches or so. I'd rather have too much of a tail left than not enough to kind of work with. So we're going to cut that. So that can get out of our way. And now what we're going to do is we have our working yarn. We have this loop here. We're just going to go in. Let's see if I can zoom in a little more here. We're going to go into one of the first stitches we did. Grab our working yarn. Pull it through, and now we're going to pull the whole working yarn through to kind of lock that in place. And then what I'm going to do, go behind it, and I'm going to tie it in too. So I'm going to find a loop back here if I can. Okay, I'm going to find a loop. I'm going to grab my working yarn and pull that through as well. Just because the more that you can kind of tie it off, the better. My yarn's getting stuck here. Or the other option you can do if you don't want to use your crochet hook is just simply to knot it, like I've shown on other things. But this is a great addition to like a hat. You could crochet around the bottom edge if you wanted to give it a pop of color. I know we've seen that on other people's walls when they've done certain hats with ear flaps. They've kind of done a crochet border. When you get all done, you have your straggler. Excuse me. I'm just going to actually for now tie my working yarn to the starting yarn I had. Just because I figure that's, again, just securing it in. Give it a double knot. Okay, and then just trim that. And what we got now is our pretty little bordered project that we did. And it gives, like I said, gives it a nice pop of color. Excuse me, it gives it a nice pop of color around the edge, as you can see. And it just gives the project something a little different. And like I said, you can add to any other project. So again, you can add it to a hat. You can maybe do this on the edge of like a fingerless glove. Again, baby blankets, washcloths. And again, it may look like it's not laying flat. It's just because of the yarn before. Like I said, this is a Burnett baby yarn. I love it. It's really soft and cushiony. And this was just a regular, probably a Red Heart brand. And I like the way it looks. Now, I know on the back it may not look as pretty, but I like that the one side that you're doing it on, it creates that nice even border. If we get a little close up so you can see a nice border there. Now, so like I said, comment below or like this video if you'd like to see me try doing other crochet borders. I do know how to do some double crochet in that I may show as well. But this is great for beginners. Just do a regular single crochet around your project. And like I said, it'll just give it a little bit of something. It'll just give it a nice little edge around it. So go ahead and do that to some of your blankets, washcloths. Just do up a scrap square, a loom small square, and practice before you go taking on a bigger project. Have a great day, everyone.